Hi, everyone, and welcome to Heal Endometriosis Naturally with Wendy K. Laidlaw. Wendy has spent the last 2 years helping women with various stages of endometriosis to heal naturally after putting her condition into remission. After her own healing success from stage 4 endometriosis and adenomyosis, she's inspired to heal others, and her goal is to help some of the 175 million women know that there is another way other than painkillers, drugs, or surgery. This is the place to be for real talk with real people for real results, so you can learn how to heal your endometriosis naturally. Please note that the opinions expressed in this program may represent options, but are not a substitute for proper medical care. Before starting any new healthcare program, we recommend you consult with a health professional.
Hey everyone, it's Wendy K. Laidlaw here from Heal Endometriosis Naturally. I hope that this message finds you well today. I'm always delighted to have these brilliant guests that I have on. There's so many amazing people out there that I want you to meet. And today I have the lovely Lydia Puller, who is the founder and CEO of Marin Health Nuts. So welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here speaking with you. Love it.
It's so lovely to have you on because we get on really well. We've chatted, we met in America, and we have some very similar passions about foods and how people should eat and about the body and things. And I just thought you would be a wonderful guest to have on so that people can hear a little bit more about your story, your background, your journey, kind of what led you to what you're doing now. So it would be wonderful if you could share a little bit about, like, where did you come from? How have you got to this point?
Okay, so let me start off by saying that you and I had connected over a meal. We sat down, I sat down next to you and just started chatting. And the first thing that I asked you was, oh, are you plant-based? You know, that's always a good topic of discussion for me. And so I am the founder of Marin Health Nuts, and it's in my tribe that I'm developing, and it's all about a plant-based lifestyle. And so I've been plant-based for 20 plus years, and I've ridden the roller coaster of, do I stay plant-based? Am I vegetarian? Am I vegan? What am I? Do I want meat? Do I want this? And really it was, over the last 20 years, it's all about my health, because since the age of 18, I've had ulcerative colitis. And so I've been in and out of doctor's offices. They always wanted to prescribe me pills and suppositories and sleeping aids. And after a certain point, I was just really fed up. And rather than suppressing my symptoms, I really wanted a holistic look at me, because I knew that it wasn't just you know, your body is rejecting certain aspects of whatever it is that you're doing. I wanted somebody to look at my whole lifestyle. Are you stressed? What are you doing for exercise? What are you eating? And, you know, when I was diagnosed at 18, I kind of kept it quiet because nobody else in my family had it. I didn't feel like I had other people around me. I felt ashamed of my condition because for anybody that doesn't know about ulcerative colitis, you have a lot of internal bleeding. You can't leave the house without knowing where all of the bathrooms are in your town. There's a lot of pain. You don't eat. There's depression. So I went through all of that myself. And as I was going to the doctors, my question was always, you know, should I be eating something different? Is there something else that I can do? And the doctors were saying, you know, no, there's no connection. And intuitively, I just knew that there was.
Yeah.
So from, I'd say 18 until probably my mid 20s, I just really didn't do anything about it. I shoved it under the carpet, and I pretty much believed what the doctors were saying, even though I heard my inner voice say to me, it's not about the pills. You have to do something else. It's up to you to do it. And when I became pregnant, and that was 31, I think, something like that, 31, you know, I'm growing another life inside of me. And I really wanted to make sure that my child would have the best footing coming right out of the uterus of, being healthy and providing as much as I could for my child. And so that's when I really started to look at, okay, well, I don't want to endanger my child with these harsh drugs that I have to take. And what can I do? And I don't trust the professionals because I can't find anybody that speaks my language. And my language was looking at something other than prescription. So I just decided that I was going to strip everything from my body. And I'd weaved in and out of being plant-based. And of course, people were worried for me. Oh my gosh, how can you be pregnant and not have your protein, and you're doing damage to your baby? But I really had to listen to my inner voice.
Yeah.
And my diet was completely clean. And I didn't eat any meat. I didn't eat any dairy. I really didn't have any grains. And I was the healthiest I could be. No problems whatsoever. Had my child. And then, still kind of weaved in and out of having a little bit of meat, a little bit of cheese. And one day, this is when my son was probably 4 or 5 years old, I got so sick because I was still on the old patterns, still incorporating that stuff. And I decided I'd had enough. I was super, super sick, ended up in the hospital, basically begging for death. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I knew my body was shutting down and nobody was listening to me.
Yeah.
And it was at that point that all I can say is that I had a conversation with whoever is my higher spirit, my angels, whatever you want to call it. And it was, you know what, I hear you and I will take things seriously.
Yeah.
And again, I stripped my body of everything. And that was about, I'd say 15, 18 years ago. And I let go of my grains. I let go of my dairy. I didn't do any animal products. And in the beginning, even though I was plant-based, I wasn't the whole food plant-based, which is what I am today. And the difference for me was I thought that anything that didn't have animal in it, I could eat. So, well, if you're eating a bag of cookies and chips and all this other stuff that is, so-called vegan or plant-based, it's still not healthy. So I was still doing damage within my body. And it was only when I decided to go completely grain-free that I saw my body start to change. So with the disease that I have, your joints hurt you. You're always inflamed. Your sleeping patterns aren't okay. And as I started to take things out of my diet and add things in, and adding things in was add in more good stuff.
Yeah.
And the more I added to my way of eating, the healthier I became. And my joint pain stopped and my headaches stopped and I slept better and I just felt lighter. And so that's kind of the evolution of Lydia. And to this day, here I am 20 years later, and I'm still committed to it. Is it difficult? I have many days where it's like, you know what? I don't want to make anything else. I just want to grab some sort of fast food. But instead of looking at the way that I live as being in lack, I'm all about abundance.
Yeah.
What can I create that not just feeds my stomach, it feeds my soul, it feeds my eyes, and it's all delicious. So I have this different way of going about plant-based. That's the long and short of it.
Oh, that's awesome. And what a brilliant story. And what I'm hearing is, and I think this is very common for a lot of people, is when they recognize something happens, there's a pivotal point, where their body is just screaming in pain. They say, listen to your body's whisper. If you ignore your body's whispers, then they become screams. And invariably, our bodies react to what's coming in, on, and around it, becomes it's very sensitive to its environment and its food and its products. Well, what I'm hearing from you is like that you really wrestled with that. You were recognizing some pattern, but equally what was brilliant is that you were really questioning the conventional model of, you just take painkillers or drugs to, try and, mask some symptoms, but again, not getting to the root cause. And how brilliant that you're like, something in you was like, there had to be another way. And actually, recognizing, I know you'd said to me that you were sort of rushed on an ambulance into hospital, when that was your breaking point.
Yeah.
When you were kind of like, something's got to give here, because my body, and again, how brilliant you recognize it was inflamed, because 98% of all diseases are a result of inflammation. And of course, I think when we can make that shift, and this is what I say to the women with endometriosis or any other disease or any other condition, you're always trying to, swap out. And I love what you said, you're replacing, you're not lack of, but
Right.
you're upgrading. I like to say now, you're upgrading the quality of what's coming into your body. So your body just does what it wants to do naturally, which is to heal itself.
Yeah, exactly. And what was so interesting for me, and what I knew all along is, the physicians aren't taught about nutrition
No.
in medical school. And it's a known fact that out of the 4 years of medical school, this is just basic medicine, that they only get roughly 25 hours of nutrition.
It's
education.
ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
It's
I mean,
astounding.
you think that, and again, what I'm hearing from you and your story is that, like, instinctively on another level, you knew that something wasn't right, but what they were even offering it wasn't helping. It was making things worse. And you're right. I mean, it blows my mind that they get such little kind of information, education about the very basics of what it takes to be a human being, and the cell growth and repair, and
Yes.
vitamins, minerals, amino acids. These things are essential for us as
Yeah.
human beings.
Yeah. And we're not taught about it in school. Our physicians aren't taught about it in school. So what do? We walk around looking at these, people of authority, thinking that they have the answer. Back in the day, food was used as medicine. Plants were used as medicine, and we've completely lost that. And we are in this world where everything is fast. You have to eat within your 15 minutes. There is no time to cook. Throw everything in the microwave and kill all of the nutrients. And I think that, especially if you have some sort of an illness or a condition that you're dealing with, you'll do almost anything in order to get out of that. But at a certain point, you have your breaking point. And for me, it was finding out a way for food to heal me.
Yeah.
And then I also knew that, we all know about mind, body, and soul.
Yeah.
But most of us only deal with the body. And I knew that that was just half of the equation. And it was me doing research when I was really ill. We have very similar backgrounds when we were bedridden.
Yes.
And I couldn't leave the house. And I knew that it was just up to me. So here I was by myself with the computer on the bed next to me, and I'm doing the research by myself. And as I got back to the basics, I thought, okay, this is working for me. So I slowly was able to get out of bed. I knew that I had to exercise, or at least be mobile.
Yeah.
And then, I looked at the history of my life from the time that I was diagnosed until that present day when I was in bed suffering. And I realized that I'd never really slowed down and tapped into me. And part of my disease is that there's stress involved with it. It's not just stress on the body, but it's mental stress.
Yeah.
And so I had to find a way to slow down. So I was one that always ran 90 to nothing. I couldn't slow down unless I was sick in bed.
Yeah.
And I was really afraid of taking on other modalities. So I knew that I was getting my food in order. I was going outside and I was walking with my dog, and I was getting that vitamin D, and I was, starting to feel a little bit normal. And then I thought, okay, well, you're afraid of meditation. Why are you afraid of meditation? And you're afraid of yoga too. So because you're afraid and it's natural and you're not sure what to expect, you have to do it. Yeah. So the next phase for me really was, once I went on my plant-based journey, and that was pretty much locked in. Um, Again, I was looking on the computer and I went to YouTube, and I must have spent hours looking at all kinds of yoga videos. And I knew that I wanted to dedicate 20 minutes a day,
Yeah.
20 minutes a day. And I have this process that I go through where I like to change my habits. And they used to believe that it was 21 days in order to create a habit, but really it's 66 days. So I'm in the process of creating this other program where in 66 days you can create this new habit where it's automatic and instinctual. And I promised myself that in order to get healthy, you have to do your yoga.
Yeah.
So here I was, totally embarrassed, because it's always, I don't know how to do it. I don't have the right little outfit. I'm like, who's watching me? My dog. So I laid out my little mat and I could barely bend. My joints were so sore, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to try it because it's natural and it's going inward. And, I started that probably about 3-4 years ago. And to this day, I still do my 20 minutes of yoga.
Oh, that's
Not
amazing.
100%, but at least 80%. And then I also started to do a meditation.
Yeah.
Because again, being healthy, it's not just about the food. It's about your exercise. It's about you getting in touch with yourself, right? So the meditation helped me a lot. It slowed me down. I think that when you aren't healthy,
Yeah.
you have to get to the point where you can feel your body.
Yeah.
And because I was so drugged up for so long, I couldn't feel things. And now, flip to today, where I'm so much better, and I take the time to feed myself. When I put something in my body that I know my body won't like, I feel it almost instantly. So, for instance, it's I try and stay away from bread and cookies and anything that has a grain. But I'm human. And so there are times when I want to have a piece of that chocolate cake, or you know what, I could eat that entire loaf of the country bread. And I have to make the decision.
Yeah.
If you do this, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And there's some moments when I say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and eat this. And I know that I'm going to have to work through my complications for the next couple of days. But the idea is that we're all human. We can't be perfect.
Yeah.
But as long as you get back onto that track of, I am eating to be healthy.
Yeah.
I am exercising to be healthy. I am doing these things to be healthy because I'm never going back to how I was before.
No, but what I'm hearing from you is brilliant, because you've really made the connection, and this is what I teach women with endometriosis when they're really like struggling, they want more help on the 12-week foundation program, is how to, as you say, normally the body's got to scream, you're just rushing from 0 to 60 and then collapsing. You're constantly under this pressure. We were talking just before we came on about, having to stay off Facebook, stay disciplined, turn the buzzer off your phone, because there's so many things demanding attention from people now. And then we live in this head. We live in our head, and we're disassociated from our body, and we're just grabbing things, food and stuff on the go. And then your body becomes so inflamed because you're not listening to it. You're not taking the time to kind of breathe, stop off and smell the roses. And I know myself, similar to your story, the idea of sitting still for 5 minutes freaked me out. It's like, meditation? And you have any idea what type of my life is like? So, if people are listening to this and, they're thinking that we've been there, and we hope by sharing our stories is that you kind of go, okay, I can maybe be, don't have to wait until I'm in hospital before I have to make these decisions. But it's great, the yoga and the meditation. I know some people kind of think it's a bit woo-woo, but it's not. I mean, there's thousands and thousands of studies to validate their effectiveness. And you don't have to wear the most Gucci kind of yoga pants or even, and the great that you just started in your own home. I mean, even just gentle exercises. But I think we're all just constantly putting ourselves under this pressure. And from what I'm hearing from you, and I know I do it myself, is I've had to learn how to parent myself. I've had to almost mother myself, and kind of go, right, this is what you need to do every day to feed your body, in a healthy way, to rest, to go for a walk, to do yoga, meditation, to, you know, to have good food, that, because your body, as you say, my body, I just can't eat rubbish. You know, every now and
Right.
again you kind of go, oh, I'll just grab that packet of chips or crisps. I'm like, well, I'll get inflamed, I'll get sore joints if I have that, you know. So
Yeah.
I've learned, and I've learned the hard way to
Yeah.
recognize, and I'm,
Yeah.
you know, I can hear you've had the same. And I hope that when people are listening to this, they go, oh, okay, we can make the connections now. It's not that we're saying don't eat it ever and like you're a big bad person if you eat it, but recognize that if you eat something that's, highly inflammatory for your body, you're going to get inflammation. And with that inflammation comes pain. And it's going to
Yeah.
take, a couple of days to a week before your body's going to be able to kind of, readjust to that. So
Right.
going plant-based, I mean, I know for women with endometriosis, I say, I don't really have an issue with them eating meat or anything like that. I say, eat as our great ancestors ate. If you have a little bit of meat, it's fine, as long as it's hormone free, grass fed, and antibiotic free, as in
Yeah.
it's good quality.
Yeah.
That, for you, that was a brilliant commitment for you to make that. And what was the first thing that you did, to really make that transition easier for you? Did you kind of prepare food, or what did you do to avoid that
Well,
challenge?
I want to say to anybody that's listening to this, first and foremost, the path that we all take, it's not the same. We have to do what's right for us. I don't want to judge anybody if they're eating meat or they're eating eggs or whatever it is that they're doing. My goal is for people to be healthy and to have more plant-based foods on the table so that they can make those choices. And the journey that you and I took, it's a process. And we have to be gentle on ourselves. So it's not about you have to stop cold turkey like I did. That's just my personality.
Yeah.
You don't have to stop cold turkey, but if you just add a couple of extra vegetables on the table, or if you have the option between a hamburger and you've never tried a bean burger or a tofu burger, just try it and start to incorporate things. But how I do it, so I have a system. The way that it worked for me and how it was easier for me is that I'm easily influenced, whether it's a shiny object or a cookie on the shelf, or I had to retrain myself. And part of that retraining was, okay, if I'm going to go plant-based because I know that my body functions better with it, then when I go to the market, there is no way that I'm going to go into the center of the market. I'm going to promise myself that I'm just going to stick to the perimeter. So that was one thing. And then the next thing was, I don't want to have any distractions or weaknesses in my house, because if they're in my house, I'm going to eat it. If I have that chocolate cake and I throw it in the trash, if that thing isn't out of my house instantly, I'm going to be thinking about that cake in my trash. So I always suggest to clients of mine that you really need to take everything out of your house. It's really difficult. And then people say to me, well, you're throwing away good food. I'm not, because the first thing that I'm doing is I'm taking all of that food and I'm putting it into my trash bags or into my containers. And then I'm going on to my neighborhood network and I'm saying, who needs food? Who's in financial distress? Let me at least donate that. So my house is cleared of everything, so that I only have plant-based in the house. So when I look at my kitchen counters, I see apples, I see bananas, I see the things that I really like. So my fridge is filled with things that I like. So that's number one. Clear out your house and then put in the foods that are good for you. And then the other thing is that I do is twice a week, I will cook. So my son lives with me. I also have an elderly dog. And so I cook for the three of us. I cook for my dog as well. And I cook twice a week. So I don't like to have the same food. So I'm one of those people that actually cooks different food all the time. It's rare that I have a repeat of my meal, because I can be creative. I think that as soon as you start to incorporate your fruits and your vegetables and your nuts and your seeds and your grains, you you get to be creative because you don't
That's right.
rely just on that hunk of meat or fish or what have you.
Yeah.
And so twice a week, usually on Sundays and Thursdays, those are my times that I'm going to cook. So, I do my social media, my marketing, all of that stuff while I'm cooking.
Yeah.
And I just decide ahead of time, okay, well, what do I think that I would want to have during the week? And I just make things where I can grab. I have to have a lot of little dishes
Yeah.
that when I want a meal or I'm on the go, all I have to do is throw it into my plastic container or my glass container, and then off I go. So I think that if you want to be successful in a plant-based journey, you clear it out, your kitchen, you include all of the good foods, and then you make your meals ahead of time. It's called batching.
Yeah.
And you be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that as long as my house and my kitchen has everything that I need, if I happen to be out there in the world and there is something that I want, okay,
Yeah.
I'll have it, right? But that's typically how I have it in my house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that sounds fantastic. And again, I love the way that you're talking about it, because it doesn't sound that you're being deprived, or like you hear these, I just, I'm not a fan of diets anyway. I think it's a
Yeah.
lifestyle thing. And that's why I
Yeah.
wanted to have you on the show, because I think if people understand, if your body's ill and you're in pain, there's something coming in, on and around your body that it doesn't like. And so therefore we have a choice whether to make small adjustments, swap things out, as you're saying, bit by bit, or just keep going on with the pain, and actually it's more of a psychological thing. There's this feeling of, oh, I'm going to be told I can't have something, but actually it's what you gain. It's not only because there will obviously initially be that period where people struggle a little bit to make these transitions. But once, I know myself, I love fruit and veg and fresh food. My body just doesn't like rubbish anymore. I just, even if
Right.
I just couldn't eat rubbish, even if I wanted to now. So it was a mindset shift, but my goodness, the difference in my health has been profound. My energy levels, just my ability to think, no brain fog, no achy joints, and all these things. And I look at my cupboards, I look at my fridge, I look at, and it's got good quality food. And I think, some people might say, oh, does it cost more, to
Yeah.
get the fresher foods? What would be your argument, or your
Oh, I save so much more money. Here in the States, we have this show called The Couponers, which I'm a little judgy on it. And I'll say that up front because it is all about clipping your coupons and going to the stores. And the coupons are usually for your processed items.
Yeah.
But there were huge savings. And I thought, well, how can I do that being plant-based? So the thing that I did was, we have 3 grocery stores, 3 markets that I like. And then every weekend we have 2 farmers markets. So anybody that's starting the plant-based lifestyle, I see you frozen. I hope it's still recording. You still there? Wendy. Okay, good. You're back. All right. So what's really important is that, and I want to back up a little bit, when people are thinking about changing their lifestyle, just choose one thing and see what you can do with that one thing for a week. So we all know that beans and lentils, they're high in protein. And they're so easy to make. Rather than starting out and wiping out your kitchen and so on, just choose your lentils and see what you can do with lentils that one week. But for the grocery stores, I found 3 that I like to frequent. I went up to the managers and I asked them when their sale days were.
Excellent.
So I knew that one store where I get most of my vegetables, their sale is on Wednesday. So I know that every Wednesday, that's where I'm going to shop. Other stores, I know where other items are, but you have to go and you have to look and you have to ask the questions. What a lot of people don't realize is that here in the States, we have farmers markets, and there are people that are on assistance, government assistance for food.
Yeah.
And what they don't realize is that they can actually use their government assistance card at the farmers markets. And they can actually get additional deals just by shopping there because they want the underserved to have access to the fresh vegetables. So for anybody that thinks that it's more expensive to shop plant-based, what I did was I made a contest with myself. So I remember seeing the couponers and how much they were able to save. So I made a challenge with myself where I thought, okay, I have to feed my kid who's 21, my 21-year-old kid who's, 6'2" and 225 pounds, however you want to convert that into kilos and centimeters, and my dog. And I didn't want to spend more than $40 a week shopping for all of us. Yeah. And usually I kept it around that $28 to $32 range. So 2 adults and a dog every week, huge savings. And I'm never lacking for food. We have an abundance of food because I am buying foods that are going to sustain me and that are high nutrient. And that's the key. And it's just a matter of going out and doing it and trying it and seeing what's the bargain and where you can get the best deals. And slowly you'll evolve into having a whole plant-based lifestyle, if that's how you want to go.
Absolutely. And I think it's great you just say even just change one thing, because I think sometimes we can be, I know I was all or nothing, and and when you're in pain or you're ill, it's a lot to think about. So just changing even one thing in your diet, introducing one thing, and just it's amazing how your body will start to respond. So if people want to learn more about you and what you're doing, how can they get information?
Yeah, so I have this 6-week masterclass that I'm creating. It's a couple of weeks off, and it's all about the plant-based lifestyle. And it's for people that maybe are just starting out, maybe they're kind of in the middle of it, or they could be really experienced and they just want to see a different method of how to have that plant-based lifestyle. So the appropriate place for people to go, first and foremost, will be my Facebook page. So they can go to Facebook /Marin Health Nuts. That's MARIN, Marin Health Nuts. And then I have a half-assed blog that's being revamped, but they can go to marinhealthnuts.com, both of those places.
Fantastic.
And connect with me, because my passion is helping other people, especially women, especially women over 50, frankly, because that's really when our bodies are starting to change and we need to, pay a little bit more attention. But marinhealthnuts.com or Marin Health Nuts on Facebook. Yeah.
Fantastic. Because I've seen some of your videos as well, and they're full of color, and you just make it really nice and easy and accessible to people. When people are thinking about change, if their body's in pain and they're like, okay, I know I need to make the change, then even just making it fun and making it interesting and making it easy is the key. So,
have you seen the delicious pictures of the food that I make?
Yes, exactly. But that's it. There's so much color. And you think of sort of the food manufacturers and their marketing people, they're so clever with, their packaging and their design, but actually nature has it all. But Luke, thank you so much indeed for coming on. It's been really wonderful to hear about your journey, what you're doing. And I know that the women will find that very inspiring and hopefully enough just to make them think, what's the one thing that I can even change for this week?
Yep, just one.
Just one thing. And for those of you who haven't got my free paperback book yet, you can get a copy of my paperback book, Heal Endometriosis Naturally Without Painkillers, Drugs, or Surgery, which is on Amazon at $14.99. And I'm offering it for free for those of you who haven't read it yet. It explains my story and gives a step-by-step starter guide of what helped me on my journey. Just go to healendometriosisnaturallybook.com, and I just ask you to pay $7.95, and I ship all over the world. But look, thank you so much, Lydia, for coming on. It's been great chatting to you, and I hope to have you on again soon.
Wonderful. Thanks so much.
Take care. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Heal Endometriosis Naturally with Wendy K. Laidlaw. And I hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and rate us. If you're interested in learning more, you can download your top 5 jumpstart tips at healendometriosisnaturally.com and jump on the VIP email list. Remember to keep you number one. The world needs a healthy you.